Hello, we're up to the turret. We've done all the assembly, it's all been put together. Nothing that's too difficult, that's too hard to do. The machine gun is a bit of a faff. There's a lot of little tiny bits in there that have all got to be put together, and it takes some time to do. There's a couple of clear bits which are inside that grill there, which will be masked before it's painted, and a couple of tiny handles here and there on the ammunition box. But other than that, take your time with it, it's fine. I've not put the ammunition belt on there yet. It goes from here to the gun itself, and it's made of black rubber, but I'll put that on last and just do a tiny little bit of brush paint work on it. This ejection slot here, I don't know how well you can see that, it's only a tiny thing there. Took some working out. The instructions aren't very clear at all as to how to put that piece on, but if you fiddle around with it, it goes with the smooth side pointing upwards, and if you fiddle around with it enough, you'll see it becomes clear in the end. The other thing I'd say about the machine gun is, when you look at it, it doesn't look quite level. It looks as though the wings, the sides, the sight and the ammunition box are sticking up in the air. But when it fits onto the turret, because the turret's at an angle, it's sloped in two different directions, and that makes the machine gun pretty much straight. Other little bits, the instructions say to bend your piece of photo etch here, two pieces of photo etch for those grenade throwers, grenade tubes, and then glue this lot onto it. What I did it the other way round. I glued the photo etch onto the turret, then glued all this together and then glued it on, because these are very fragile when you first put them in. When I've glued them on, I let them set and then reinforced it with a bit more glue all the way round, and that seemed to lock them into place. A couple of other little bits that you might struggle with. These aerials, these antennae, are extremely fragile. I don't know if you can see them now. Let's get a piece of paper behind them. No, you can't see them when you do that either. Can we see them? Yeah, you can just see them there. Very thin, fragile antennas, and those keep getting knocked about. What I did in the end, you can see with that one that I've damaged it. It bent right over. I had to glue it back on. In the end, I ended up drilling out tubes of wood and putting them over the top and holding them in place with a bit of blue tack until I'd finished, just to protect them really. This little box here has clear parts and it has glass inside it. So does this piece here. A couple of sights on the gun there, and a piece for the cabin there, the top sights. So what I did with them, you may notice there's bits of green paint all over it. And what I've done is I've put the whole thing together, and then before I put the clear parts in, I painted the frames, the inside of the frames, then masked the glass out with Maskol. That's not Maskol, liquid mask, and that way when I come to take after I've sprayed it all and I come to take the masking out, the frame will still be painted green. The last time I did this, I masked the glass out, spray painted it, took the masking off, and then I found that the frame was still the colour of the plastic, so I had to very gently paint it. It was a total waste of time masking it out. But doing it this way, paint it first, stick the glass in, then put the masking on, then spray it, then take the masking off, it comes out the same colour all over and you don't have to mess around with it at all. For obvious reasons, I've left all the armour off, and I will paint it before I put it on the side. The armour doesn't quite sit on the side of the hull. There's a gap down the side of it, you can see there. So you would be able to see the clear plastic. Also, this part of the armour that sits on here, there's a gap there as well. So they've got to be painted separately, both sides. And the bar armour I've already painted. I painted that when it was on the sprues. It was a lot easier to do that, so I did it with the hull and the turret at the same time. The aerial array, I've left that off until it's painted because it's very fragile. It's going to get banged and broken, so that's going to be painted separately and then glued on. This turret, this hatch opens up and down, so I'll paint inside and outside of it, and then it sits on there as so. There's a lot of glassware which look like glass prisms, which go all the way around on this hatchway, all the way around that hatchway, and they're here on the instructions. Oops, no they're not, there they are on the instructions. Now it says that some of them are red, and in fact on the videos that I've looked at of the real tanks, they do seem to have a red tinge on them. I'm guessing that's something to do with infrared. Not 100% sure, I'll look into it a bit more, but if it is, I'll paint them red with translucent paint so that they look as real as possible, but they can't obviously go on until all this has been painted. And what I'll do then as well is I'll put little spots of white paint down here, otherwise the green will show through on the glass. Then glue the glass in and then put the hatch on top of that. Other than that, it's fairly straightforward, you know, there's not a lot to it, and it goes together reasonably easily. One thing I did find that was a problem is these two lugs here, one here and one here, hold the turret onto the hull. But what I found was if you try to put them on the hull, then the gap between them here is very, very tight, and you're liable to break something trying to put it on. So what I did in the end was I got a small pin file and I filed just a little bit down there. You've got to be careful not to file the whole thing off, otherwise you won't be able to fix the turret on, and just enough to make it a little bit of a smoother fit, and then it goes on quite easy. The gun itself comes in several pieces, and of course when you put it together you need to make sure that it's absolutely straight. You can't have a gun with a bend in it, that wouldn't be any good at all. And the only problem I found with it is that when it fits into here at the end, it's an extremely loose fit. Pin on the end of it which goes through a hole at the end here, and that goes through a hole in the chamber, but the pin seems to be too long and it catches on the bottom of the casement there. So I filed it off and it took a bit of work to get it in there. Then I had to glue it in and balance it all on bits of board. I'll put a couple of photographs on, and eventually I had to leave it overnight to set because it really is quite a loose fit. Either I've done something wrong or it's not been made very well, who knows. Other than that, not a problem, no problems with it at all. I'm going to spray paint it all, then I'll glue it all together, and then I'll put it on the hull, and we'll see what we've got. I'll do another video to show you the finished product. Any questions, any comments, please leave them at the bottom as always. Ta-da!